Recording. Recording. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Okay, thank you very much for agreeing to participate in this study. I really appreciate your time. My name is Tuyết, and today I will be conducting this interview about teachers' use of storytelling to teach vocabulary to young learners in Vietnamese private English center. So this interview will last about 30 to 40 minutes. I will ask you about how you implement storytelling in your lessons and to teach vocabulary and your perceptions of the benefits and challenges of using this approach. So you got the idea of the general idea of this interview, right?
Yes.
Before we begin, I would like to remind you of a few important points. The interview will be audio recorded for later analysis. All the information you provide will be kept confidential and used only for this study. Your name will be replaced with synonym to protect your identity. During the interview, you have the right to stop, to withdraw, to skip any question you feel uncomfortable to answer. If you wish to stop from the study, you may do so at any time without any penalty. And yes, the interview will be stopped immediately if you don't want to continue. Do you agree to participate under these conditions?
Yes, I agree.
Thank you very much. So I think we can begin the interview now. First of all, I would like to ask you about your background. Um, could you please describe your experience in teaching English to young learners?
Yes. So currently, I've been teaching for an English center in Hanoi
Yes.
for 5 years. But my experience in teaching English to young learner up to now is 7 years.
Mm.
So I mostly teach for young learners age 6 to 11 from level pre A1 to A1 and A2.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. So, what kinds of story do you usually use in your English class?
Mm, I think I use lots of kinds of stories. For example, sometimes I use big books or print books to show pictures clearly to students, and they also can touch the books to have more interaction. And
Yes.
sometimes I also change to another version like digital story that can easily found on YouTube or
Mm.
or to to change the interactive way for them.
Yes, I see. So, where do these stories you use come from?
Yeah, most of them come from the textbook. Come from the textbook I'm teaching for students.
Yes.
However, there are some kinds of story I can find on YouTube that when I see that the story is more suitable compared to the story in textbook, I will find them on YouTube or Google, or even I will use ChatGPT to find the one that's more appropriate for my student in that topic, and then I use them.
Oh, very creative. So, I would like to move to the next part about like how you implement the storytelling to teach vocabulary. Okay, so when you use storytelling to teach vocabulary, how do you usually choose a story or the target words? As you said, like sometimes you may find some material online.
Yes. Um, it depends a lot. It depends on lots of variables. The first thing I do is I will list down all the topics and the target vocabularies that I want to teach for my students. After that, I will find the story that match that topics and the target vocabularies I want to teach. For example, when I want to teach them topic colors, and
Yes.
I want to teach them about all the uh, vocabularies about colors, I will find the story on YouTube, like the story, my favorite color, so they can both study the vocab items and they can study the structure. My favorite color is blah blah blah. So they not only know the vocab in isolation, they all also know how to use that word in the sentence. Um, in terms of the criteria to choose the story for a student, I will base on some main key criteria, such as the first thing is about the topic that is really familiar topics and age appropriate topic for my student. That kind of level, for example, pre A1 or A1.
Mhm.
The second criteria is the language used in that story. Uh, does it have the repetitive patterns, like repetitive structure, or the vocab is repeated in lots of sentence or lot of context for them
Mhm.
to recycle them.
Yes.
And one, uh, does a story is a story potential for develop other speaking skill for student. For example, after learning that story, they can use that structure, use that vocab in the story, or use the expression in the story to retell or to summarize or to connect to their own life. So I will check, is it story have that kind of potential or not? Another thing I consider is the quality of listening audio and the visual support of the story. Is it appropriate for my student? Does it have the visual scaffolding for them? And if that story is digital story,
Mhm.
so I will check, does the subtitle or the listening audio uh, are all of them easy to listen.
Mm.
So that's some criteria that I will consider when choosing story for a student.
So I think you have a lot of criteria to choose a story, like the topic, the age appropriate, the language used, and
Yes.
the role, like to communicate, right? And also like the quality of the listening audio. So which one do you think is the most important?
It's really hard to choose the most important
Mhm.
part, but I think there are like two or three main two keys like keys criteria. The
Mhm.
first one is language focus. The
Yes.
second one is the potential for
Yes.
speaking activities later on, and the last one is the visual scaffolding.
Okay. Why do you think they are the three main things for to choose a storytelling to teach vocabulary?
Um, I think uh, they are two main things because you see, I will back to the learner's characteristic.
Yes.
Um, Young learners, they depends a lot on repetition to remember the vocabulary items,
Mhm.
and they are visual learners. They are visual
Yeah.
learners. they need a lot of like um, images or pictures or even the flashcards to connect the connect the mean to construct the meaning.
Mhm.
uh, they also they also need the diverse activities to developing their oral skills because they are very active. They need to have more speaking activities and they are not embarrassed to speak more. So with the material that have potential to develop speaking activities, it's really suitable for them to to how to say to engage in very speaking tasks.
Oh, I see. So, like after choosing a story, what do you usually plan to do with the story to teach vocabulary? Like, do you usually use it only for, like one story in one lesson, or maybe like for several lessons?
You mean the pre-story stage, right? What I do in before I teach that story, right?
Yes, I mean like after choosing a story, so like you planning like what do you plan to use that story? So normally like for example, one story you use for one lesson or you can use that story for another lesson, like to repeat it.
Ah, yes. Okay, so I have different ways to plan that story. How I teach that story for my student, I will prepare a teaching notes and I will I will list down all the things I will teach with that story and how I connect that story to different topics in the next lessons. For example, when I teach the topic colors
Mm-hmm.
or family and friends.
Yeah.
Uh, for example, I teach the topic family and friends. I will choose the story like I love my family. So when I see that story, I know that oh, after this story, they can retell the story. They can retell that story using pictures or using mind map, something like that. Uh, After that, they can ask and answer with the structure. What do you do with your family? What do you do with your friends? Or uh, what does each family members like to do? So I
Mm-hmm.
will list out all the lesson objectives, and after that I will structure that objectives um, to the lessons. For example, in lesson one they will have the first two objectives. In lesson two they will have the next two objectives, and I will divide the objectives in different lessons. uh, After that I will try to connect this topic to another topic to recycle the language they use during the learning process. For example, when after I teach topic family and friends to storytelling, to a story my family or my friends, something like that, and after that I teach them the topic colors. So, in the speaking task in topic colors, I will ask them to talk about what color do their family members like. So they can use the vocab in the previous topic and the structure in the recent topic. So that's the way I plan for all the things I want to teach them.
Yeah, so but I mean like um one story you will use it for one lesson or maybe like you said like it depends on the objectives, right?
Yes, one story I can use it for many lessons because, as I said before, I will choose the story has the potential to develop different objectives. So with different objectives, I can use that in many lessons. Uh, as the example I told you, in the lesson one, I because I only have 60 minutes per lesson. In lesson one, they only learn vocab and learn how to retell the story. But in lesson two, I still use that story, but I will ask them to ask and answer using the structure in that story. So something like that. So I can use one story for different lessons.
Oh, I
Depends on
see.
how I develop that story.
Yes. So now I would like to ask, like, before telling the story, what activities do you usually do to introduce the key vocabulary and prepare students for the story?
Uh, Before reading the story to my students, so you mean in pre-story stage, right? Uh, the first thing I do will activate the schemas. I activate the schema to know, to identify what they know and what they don't know about that topic. I will ask them some questions about family or about colors to identify that, or show them the videos to so so that I will know, oh, they know this kind of words, and they know the kind of information about that topic, and they don't know these things. And the next activity I do is, I will input, I will build the vocabularies for them. All the vocabularies related to other key vocab they will learn in that story. I will introduce them, and even I also introduce the structure they will encounter in that story.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
what aspects of the target words do you usually focus on at this stage? I mean, like meaning, form, pronunciation, or maybe use at this at the very first stage.
Uh, in very first stage, I only focus on meaning and pronunciation of the word. Uh, if that is for teaching vocabulary, I focus on meaning, and I build their meaning for them through using flashcards or TPR. Yeah, so they can construct the meaning through my body movements, to the body movements, to the pictures, to the printed flashcard. So it's really easy for them to remember and memorize that words.
Yes. So, what other kind of material or resources do you use to, to introduce or to present these new words apart from the flashcard and TPR?
Sometimes I use puppets. The things like realities I will bring to the class. For example, when I teach about food and drink,
Mhm.
I can bring some real food, real fruits to the class, so they can
Mm.
see, they can touch, they can smell them. So I see that they are really engaged in the lesson, because uh, they can use a lot of sense to feel that objects.
Hmm, that's nice. So, while telling the story, how do you help students understand the target words without breaking, the flow of the story? So, like, I mean, do you usually tell the story once or more than once during a lesson?
So in the wild story stage, I will tell them that story at least twice.
Mhm.
So in the first time they listen to that story, I will ask them to listen first without interfering, without
Mhm.
interfering them. I will show them the video of that story, or I will read that story for them, to have them have the overview of that story. They will know how many characters are there, and what animals appear in that story. And after that, I can ask them some gist question like, what animals do you see, or what people do you see? What is the title of the story? What is the story about? Some gist questions to have them get the overview meaning of the story.
Mhm.
And in the second listening, I want them to know some details of the story. So when I tell the story again, or I show the story video one more time, I will pause at some images and ask some questions related to the contents of the story. For example, what animal is it? What is it doing? Or where are they? Something like that. I will ask to check, do they understand some details of the story or not?
Mm. So
And
you
it also ensure the active listening.
Yeah, so you let them listen first to understand the gist, the main idea first, and after that you ask them more questions to check their understanding.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so like, what tools or action do you usually use to help students to notice and understand the target words during the storytelling?
Yes. I think I use a lot of strategies. I use my facial expression, my body language,
Mhm.
TPR, picture cards, and I ask them to repeat the words with me like choral drilling.
Mm,
I also use some other activities to teach vocab, like I use the voice change, the tempo game, to make the word to pronounce the word faster or slower to catch your attention to that word. And
mhm.
sometimes with abstract word that they cannot get the meaning correctly, I will, yeah, translate into Vietnamese for them, but I often translate with higher level student, maybe A1 or A2. I
Mm.
uh, I don't normally translate into Vietnamese for pre A1 student.
Why don't you translate for like to pre A1 student?
Because most of words are quite simple and they can construct the meaning from my TPR or the flashcard. So most of the word uh, I show them on the screen with very like clearly visual. So
Mm.
very easy to understand. And the vocab topics is quite familiar to them, like animals, colors, family and friends, food and drink. So I don't, I rarely use the Vietnamese to translate for them for
Yeah.
pre A1 student.
Yes. So can you describe a specific, specific example of how you helped student understand the target word while telling a story? Like, for the specific story, like for example.
Okay. Mm, when I tell them in the first thing I want to confirm that in pre-story stage, student uh, nearly remember all of the story I teach because the objectives of pre-story stage is input vocab for them. So in pre-story stage, I already check their memorizations of the story, also have the game or interactive activities to reinforce the vocab. So in the wild story stage, I also reinforce them one more time by I will point to the objects in the my big book, the
Yeah.
story book, and ask them to repeat the words like what. I will ask them some questions like what animals do you see in
Mhm.
that picture.
Mm.
So they are the animals they learned in the previous stage. So when they can point out that story and they can say aloud, it means they already memorize that word.
Mm.
If they still not like say aloud that word, I will, yeah, repeat for them, rephrase the vocabulary items, or ask them to construct the full sentence include that word. For example, it's a monkey or it's a brown monkey, something like that. And I also ask them questions about that word, and use facial expression and voice to describe that word for them once more time.
Yes, I see. So you said that in the pre storytelling, the objective is to uh give them the input of vocabulary, and for
Yes.
this stage, like most of them already memorize the words already. So for this stage, like they will learn it in the story. So what are the differences between two stages, like the story the for the vocabulary learning?
Yeah. So mm the pre-stages is like the preparation for student before
Mm-hmm.
coming to wild stage. So the most different thing here is the objectives of two stage. So as I said, in stage in the pre-stage, student, the objectives of pre-stage is input, is teaching vocab to learners. So after pre-stage, teachers need to ensure that they can memorize most of vocabulary related to the story in the next stage. So in the second stage is the wild story phase. Uh, it's not the time for teach story one to teach the story again. It's the time to check their comprehension, to know that they understand the story content or not. So at that time, sometimes teacher can reinforce or remind them about some words or some difficult words they learn in pre-stage. But at
Mhm.
the same time, teacher also have to check their understanding about the story. For example, teacher will ask them lots of questions about the story, like who who do you see in the story? What are they doing? Where are they? What is the lesson of the story? Uh, Something like that to check their understanding.
Mm.
Do they understand? Do they comprehend the story or not? Does
Yeah,
that?
so you yeah, so you mean like in the pre-stage they only learn vocabulary kind of like separately, but here they need to use use this vocabulary to understand the story, right?
Yes, yes. And they even can use that vocabulary to answer the comprehension questions.
Oh, okay. During the storytelling.
Yes, yes.
Wow, okay. So how do you involve the student during the story to help them learn the target words? Like, for example, like how do you encourage them to participate during you telling the story?
Uh, you mean how I engage student when I tell them story?
Yeah, yes,
So when I will use different ways to tell to tell the story for them. For example, in the first lesson, I can use the big book to tell them
yes.
story. I will point to the big book and tell them story and have them some kind of activities for them to touch big books or use pictures in big books to retell that story. Or so I will change to another version to tell the story. For example, in the second lesson, I want them to retell that story. I will use the
Mm-hmm.
or story wheel,
Mm-hmm.
story plates, or even the puppets or headbands for them to
Mm-hmm.
role play or retell the story. So I see that young learners really like role play activities, and because they can be that character, they can
Yes.
act that character. So I will use different interactive activities for them to engage them in storytelling.
To learn the vocabulary, right? So they can learn
Yes,
the vocabulary through so. Oh,
yes.
I see. So, I would like to ask you, um, like after the story finished in, so what kind of the follow-up activities do you usually use to help the student to practice the new words? As you said, like the student really like the role play, so you use a role play in after the storytelling finish, or you use it during the storytelling
Yeah. With the role play activities, I will use in a post story stage.
uh-huh.
Uh, yes. All of so I have some kinds of activities I always organize for post story stage, such as role playing,
Yes.
retell story, retelling, discussion, group discussion,
Mm-hmm.
or critical thinking activities, summarizing, or reflection. So all kinds of that activities I will organize in the post story stage. This kind of activity not only foster them uh, to speak more, and to retell and develop their critical thinking, but it will it's also engage students in very meaningful context to interact with their peers. They have to use the target words. They have to
Yes.
use the target words to communicate with their classmates to complete the task. For example, when I ask them to do the role play, they will use the target words to become and to act as that character and
Mm,
talk to their friends. Talk to their friends. They become the chicken, and other friend become the horse or the pig, and they have to
mm,
talk using that vocab they learn in the previous stage. And
yes.
it's also the same for other activities.
So, like, how do you usually check whether students have understood and remember the target words that you want to teach?
Mm, Mostly, I use formative assessment. I just observe. I will use observation.
Yes.
uh, I will observe how they respond to my answer, how they interact with their friends, and can they complete the role play task or the discussion task smoothly. So if they can use the target words and they can use the target structure to communicate to solve the problem I give them. So it means they already acquire the target words I teach them, and even they understand the story and they understand the structure and they can use them, not only the target words.
Mm. So you said that you mostly use a formative assessment. So why do you choose this way?
Uh, I use mm, actually, I use a lot of like kinds of assessment for my student. Uh,
Yeah,
the first example I give you is for my pre-A1 learner.
yeah,
They don't know how they don't know how to write yet at that time because
yeah,
they mostly 6 years old student. They
yes,
cannot write smoothly, so I cannot check them by you will write that vocab for me, or you have to write that sentence for me, because I cannot check them through that way. So I will use observation. It will reduce the anxiety of student and
yes.
promote their confidence to communicate with their peers. So that's the reason why I choose formative or choose observation to check, to assess my student.
Yes, I see. So, how do you usually recycle the target vocabulary in the later lessons? Like, do you use it for the warm up or do you use it for other activities as well?
Uh, you mean for the next lesson, right? How I
Yeah, yeah, for the
recycle
later
information.
lesson. Yes.
Yeah. So when I design the syllabus or the curriculums for my syllabus for my course, I already combine the topics or combine the story to recycle all the vocab they learned previously. For example, if I teach the topic animals and the story Dear Zoo or Old MacDonald had a farm, to teach the target words, I in the next lesson I will teach some other topic that also relevant to animals, so they can recycle both the recycle both the previous word and learn the new word, and combine in diverse speaking tasks. For example, the first topic can be animal, so the second topic I teach uh, can be family and friends. uh,
Mm,
if listening to that kind of topic is quite irrelevant, right? But
yeah.
I will organize that speaking task like this. When I teach the second topic, like family and friends, I will organize the presentation for them. Like, you need to talk about the favorite animals of each family members, or you can present about your family members and and their favorite animals. So
Mm,
they can recycle all the language in the recent, in the current lesson and the previous lesson. Yeah, that's a
oh,
way
I
I
see.
decide.
So
The
that's the
type,
way you're gonna combine. So why do
yes.
you do so? Like why do you do that way? Like to combine, for example, like animal and family and different topic to help them to recycle the vocabulary.
I because I think all the topic have something in common
Mm,
and they have the connection. I will find the connection between among the topics to
mm,
help students have the like recycling of language. Um, and another thing also organize for students is the review lesson. In the review
mm,
lesson, for example, after 1 month, maybe in 1 month they will learn 3 topics. So after 1 month I will have 2 review lessons for them to review all the story they learn, review all the vocabs and the structure they learn. They can develop story more with more advanced speaking task, and
mm.
they can retell them once more time just to review everything they learned previously.
Yeah, I see. So now we are moving to I want to know more about like your opinions, your perception about using storytelling to teach vocabulary. So from your experience, what do you see as the main benefits of using storytelling to teach vocabulary to young learners?
Yeah. uh, oh, it's very interesting because I really like stories,
Yes,
and I also read some like research related to teach using story to teach young learners, and I
yes,
see that using story is one of the most effective way to teach vocab for young learners because
yes,
have the meaningful context and it has repetitive patterns or structures to help them like learn the new vocab items easily.
yes,
And they also have like the lessons that student can draw after learning that story, and even have some kind of problem and solution that student can learn from that story. So I think, not just I think, that is proof by study, by empirical, lots of empirical research, and
but
it's
yeah, but I really want to know from your experience, like from your experience of teaching as well.
ah, yes, and my experience is the same. My experience is the
Oh, interesting.
same.
Yes.
When I use story, I use a lot of times, like how to say, I use a lot of tools to teaching
Mm,
that for students. For example, I use two songs, chants, poems, and story, and I see that story is the most effective one.
mm,
Mm, compared to songs and chants and poems, because song, chants, poem, they are quite short, and
mm,
um, it's not, how to say, it have limited potential for me to develop diverse speaking activities. However, the story have really meaningful context, and all the target words in the story can be repeated or can be encountered in lots of situations, and
mm,
students can see that words in meaningful and repeated context, like repeated expression, so they know how, not only how to use that word, they know how to use that word, they know they can construct the meaning of the target words, and they know the how to say, the standard expression of that word.
mm.
Yeah, the
Standard expression. You mean like the
I mean the
collocation?
correct structure, the correct
Uh,
structure when they're using that word. For example, they can see the word red in the structure. My favorite color is red, something like that. Or
mm.
with other structure like there is or there are, they also see the like accurate expression in the story.
Yeah. So in the story, um, and they can see it in the song as well. But as you said, it's quite short.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite short.
I see. So I see you already compared with other techniques like song, like poems, like chants. If you compare it with like other kind of ways of teaching vocabulary, like using only flashcards, for example, or only using a word list alone. So how do you think about the storytelling?
Of course, storytelling is better. And I think it's the best. It's the best one. Flashcard will show the word in isolation, and even the thing you mentioned previously. Beside flashcard, what is it? I forgot.
Instead of the list of
Word
words
list.
that we
Yeah.
use to study, right?
Yes. Even we use the word list. We can provide student word list and even provide student the sentence include that word list for them to have the meaningful context. But I think it's I used to use, but it didn't work. It didn't effectively as story at all because story have really meaningful context and it really engage student because it have the plot. Story have the plot. Story have characters. Story have like the sequence that can engage student to
Mhm,
learn the target vocab.
mhm,
It's really attractive, more attractive than teaching them with just flashcard or word list. Flashcard and word list can be the strategies or the teaching, yes, the teaching strategies that can combine when teaching story. For
just to
example, we can
compare.
use flashcard or word lists when you teach story in pre-story stage.
Oh, I see. So you said that is more attractive to students. So how do you think students feel about storytelling? How about the responding, like the engagement compared to other methods?
I always see their excitement when they learn through story. Once time I taught them the story, the very hungry caterpillar. Oh
Yes.
my God, they were really interactive whenever
Mm,
I taught that lesson. Um, and other things they respond, they can remember that story after two lessons and
really?
retell the story smoothly, and even create the new story for me. They create my previous class for pre A1 student. They
Yes.
already created new story like the very hungry baby shark, the very hungry monkey, and the very hungry spider. Yeah, so
Yes.
that's really cute.
Oh, that's very cute. Yeah, they can use it, right?
Yes, they can use and create a new one.
That's really nice. So, looking back on the experience, what challenges have you experienced when using storytelling to teach vocabulary to young learners?
It means the challenges, right?
Yes.
About the challenges, I think
Which
that is
part of the storytelling lesson like you feel the most challenging for you? Like maybe like for preparation or maybe teaching the vocabulary pre at the pre-teaching, pre-storytelling or finding the suitable story or managing the student short attention.
yeah. I think the most challenging stage, the most challenging stages are while story and post story, because teaching these two stages are really tired, tiring. I get exhausted after teaching story, because when I teach pre-stage and post-story stage, I have to organize a lot of activities. And when I organize a lot of activities means I have to prepare a lot of materials like
Mm,
canvas slide,
mm,
story map, puppets, realias, and even the headbands, yeah, the fell boards, yeah, something like that.
mm.
lots of material I have to prepare for them, and even the handouts so they can retell at home. Uh, yes, a lot of
A
things.
lot of difficulty, I think. What are the difficulties in like helping students moving, from understanding the new words, they can understand it, but to actually like using it in the real life? Do you have any kind of difficulty with that?
Mm, when I you mean using that word in real life, right?
Yes, yes, like they can understand, but sometimes they can't use it.
Yeah, I used to encounter this kind of problem. Uh, I think the reason is we only focus on check story comprehension too much, too many times, instead of involving them in how to say, in real tasks that use these kind of target vocab, so they
Mm,
cannot use in real life. Uh, I used to encounter, and my solution is I will I will provide them more real life tasks, so they have to engage in that task and use
mm,
that vocab and structure to solve the problem, to solve the task I give them. For example, when I teach them the story, let's clean up.
yes.
In that story, they will clean up the house. The story content is cleaning up the house, and they have kind of structure like that. I have a yellow t-shirt on the table. Now I'm
Yes.
going to pick it up and put it into the closet. So all the sentences in the story go like that. So after I teach them the vocab, the structure, and also the story content, I will move them to the real life task. I put everything on the classroom and make the classroom like the mess.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to communicate with other peers, other classmates, and they have to ask, "What do you see?" One student will say, "What do you see?" Other student will say, "I see a pencil on the floor. Now I'm going to pick it up and put it on the table." Yeah, so they have to use these kind of words and structure in real tasks in real life, right? So that's the way I
Yes.
connect from the story
Yeah.
to real life.
Very nice. So, like, could you share a situation where a storytelling lesson didn't go as planned?
Mm, didn't it means it when it didn't go as I planned.
Yes.
Uh,
Like something happened in your lesson to teach the vocab?
uh, with that situation, I haven't met it before.
Lucky you. And as you said, like you got some kind of difficulties above. So, what kinds of support from your center could make it easier for you to overcome the challenges that you have?
uh, I think the most powerful, how to say, powerful support they give me is they give me the right to decide what story I can teach, what story I can add to the syllabus, and I can change the syllabus. I have the right to change the syllabus um, with their permission. Yes, they allow me
Mm,
to do that. Uh,
mhm.
and when I say I when I talk to them that I see that kind of syllabus or see that kind of sequence is not appropriate and I want to change in that way, and when they check and they see that my suggestions is quite good, okay,
Mhm.
like that they will approve and give me the right to change. So that's the first thing, and they also provide me the materials. If I want to buy something or I want to print something, they will provide like the budgets for me to do these things, and also they will give me the technical support, like the projector. They
Yes.
provide the projector, laptop, or yeah, even the
So
task, something like that for me to.
yeah, everything is good, but like anything else you want from your, like anything else, anything kind of support you want from your center as well.
Ah, if I can, if I can suggest, I will want more professional training or workshop on storytelling. When I see a lot of educational institution, they open and they organize a lot of workshops about storytelling, and even they provide the teaching tools, the materials for teachers to implement the story easily. So I also want to join to attend this kind of workshops to like to foster my skills, and even I will have the materials from them, get the material from them to teach my student. Yeah.
Oh, I see. So I think um, this is going to be the end of the interview. But before we finish, is there anything else about storytelling to teach vocabulary you want to add on?
I think that's all I want to share. I cannot think about other information right now. Maybe if I have, I will connect you.
Yeah, yeah, please, sure. Surely I will give you the email. Thank you a lot for your time and your contribution. Thank
Yeah.
you. Bye bye.
Yes. Thank you a lot. You're welcome.
Stop. Stop.